Welcome back again to Joe Stoller Boxing. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia, because if you remember the fight with Gervonta Davis at the end, the post-fight interview, you may have noticed what I definitely noticed, and that is that Garcia seemed to want to speak about something. That he didn't give anything away, but Jim Gray asked him, I can't remember exactly what he asked him, but Garcia sort of paused and then said, "Oh no, it's okay, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go into anything." Now, today it came out that a mole, as they put it, in Garcia's camp leaked information to Davis and his camp, saying that Garcia had been injured to the body in sparring. And Garcia, to his credit, has said, I don't want to make excuses. He caught me with a good shot. I just couldn't recover, and that's it. End of chat, sort of thing. So, but nevertheless, there is this, acknowledgement that someone told told Davis's team he's got an injury, and it's to the body. So, without making too big a deal of it, because a lot of fighters fight injured. I mean, very often they'll have some niggle here and there, and they'll have to just put it to the back of their mind, or there'll be some out of the ring thing that's going on in their head. Tank came in knowing that he's going to be in court soon, and he handled I thought it was a brilliant performance. He handled his business, knowing full well that he's got this legal issue hanging over him. Didn't let it get to him. Ryan, if he was injured to the point where it was a serious, it reduced his chances of winning seriously, perhaps he should have pulled out of the fight, although he would have been, slaughtered for, oh, he's got no heart, all that business, blah, blah, blah. He's turned down, he doesn't really want the fight, he's turned down a big payday, and he'd have had to put up with all that crap. But you've got to weigh it up. You're going to fight injured, or are you going to, put up with the abuse, but nevertheless come back when you're 100%? Well, Garcia clearly gambled and lost. But let me ask you a question. Do you think the fact that Garcia appears to have had some sort of injury in any way cuts him any slack from essentially quitting at the end of that fight? Because we all know what happened. Big, left hook to the body, caught him on the rib. I don't think it was under the rib. I think it was sort of on the rib. And for all I know, I mean, that could have been the injured area, the area he injured in training, and it was accentuated by the punch. And perhaps it brought back some sort of, it brought the doubts into Garcia's mind, or, something clearly happened. It was a very, very strange ending, because Garcia grimaced heavily, then his game face went back on, he took up a stance, Tank was coming in, and then Garcia decided, I'm taking a knee, and he essentially sat out the count. And he got up and he was walking around fine afterwards. So, what do you think? Do you think the injury in any way gives him any kind of reason? I'm going to try and avoid the word excuse, but reason for quitting? Or, live to fight another day. If you're injured, you don't want to get bashed about too much. Otherwise, the injury could worsen. It could be career-threatening. All these things are probably going through any injured fighter's mind. But I'd like your opinion on this, because Garcia's taken a lot of heat over quitting, and he has to assess himself. What's he going to do? Does he really want to be a fighter? Is he just a pretty boy? All this stuff. I think a lot of it's unfair, although he did quit. But at the same time, I'm not someone who thinks that quitting is necessarily the great cardinal sin that most people do. I think that Garcia, does he fall into the sort of Vitaly Klitschko quitting against Chris Bird category, or does he fall into the, who can we choose now? Someone who genuinely did just completely tank it, no pun intended, who just said, nah, I'm not interested, and, sod it off. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I think if Ryan Garcia still wants to be a fighter, if he said I'm coming back, I'm going to learn from this, I'm going to be better than ever, blah blah blah. Okay, that's fair enough. And if I think he's got the talent to learn from this and to move on and to come back strong. I think he's a talented kid. But what do you think? Do you think he's going to come back? Do you think he wants to be a fighter? Do you think he's been softened up by the whole idea of he was a big Instagram influencer, whatever the hell they call him. He's making money in other areas from social media and other things. Does he really want to be a fighter? When it comes to the crunch, is he prepared to suck it all up? He didn't on Saturday, but it doesn't mean he's to say he won't further down the line. As I say, Vitaly Klitschko, very badly damaged shoulder, quit against Chris Bird, was lambasted for doing so, especially by the HBO broadcast team. Larry Merchant, I remember really having a go at him. Then he came back and he proved himself without question. Nigel Benn's another one. Essentially, he sat out the count, or he maybe mistimed it against Michael Watson, but had no objection when the referee stopped the fight. Daniel Dubois getting a busted eye socket. He's got to come back. I mean, that eye socket was busted, so maybe he's justified in quitting. You know, there are all these scenarios. People quit for different reasons, and some of them are kind of, you can understand it. Other people, you think, well, maybe just didn't want to know. Maybe he's got no heart. I remember Doug DeWitt in his final fight. Doug DeWitt was a really tough middleweight in the 90s. He didn't have the greatest amount of skill, but he was a real tough nut. He went the distance with Tommy Earns, 12 rounds. And he looked like a pug. He had a flat nose, and he was a tough little bastard. And he quit in his final fight. It was his final fight against James Toney. And his team, I remember in the corner, his team were trying to get him to go out again and saying, you know, you'll never forgive yourself if you quit now. And DeWitt said, no, I'm done. And when he said, I'm done, what he meant was, my career's over. I've had enough of this. Some people quit like that, you know. So let me know what you think. This injury thing with Garcia, what do you think about it? Leave your comments below. Thanks, as always, for watching the video. Like the video if you liked it. Hit that like button. It helps us out. And please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It takes a second to hit the subscribe button, and you'd really help us out if you did that. So thank you for your time, as always. And until we speak again next time, bye for now.